Okay, it's time for everybody else. I decided to combine Raider, Executor, Recluse, and Guardian. Not because they're not good, but because they don't have much relic build variability. They're very good in what they do, and they fill their niches, and straying too far from that just gets into like wacky builds and stuff. And I'm not going to show you guys stuff that's not optimal or doesn't work. I'm not just going to make stuff up to make individual videos, for weapons and things that really won't go well for them. So I'm just going to keep it simple and give you the good stuff. And always start out showing the proof here. So total expeditions, wins, losses, all that. Again, 100 of those losses are from DCs, quit outs, and making stuff for videos. So the win rate's a little higher. You can see the spread: Guardian 33, Raider 29, Recluse 140, Executor 66. I guess I really don't play much of them. Like Recluse, I did a stint, but it just feels wrong playing her now. Like I gotta bring Revenant, and Undertaker, and Duchess out, and Executor. I use him for one specific boss always. So I'm gonna go over boss weaknesses really quick. So on the relics, you see that holy attack +4. That's 12% damage. If you're fighting the dog, which is 35% weak to holy, that gets multiplied, and this turns into 16.2% effective damage. So it's really worth speccing into your relics. You can put it in every relic, and it's really worth building for the Nightlord. I make builds specifically for the Nightlords and for characters and for weapons. I go for the weapon, I go for that playstyle. It shreds bosses, it does great throughout the game, and it's a ton of fun. Highly recommend checking out. I did a couple videos on it, so if you're interested, go look at that. Another thing to talk about is the dormant discovers. So, dormant discovers. You put this on and it changes your character's starting, preferred, or likely to get, however you want to say it, weapon type, and it'll change it to that one. So if I put on great bows, I would no longer be getting katanas, and these would be my dormant discovers. These would what I'd be getting throughout a match. And the purple is the reason you would put that on, okay? So I would get that purple. If you did it for daggers, you have 2 holy daggers and 6 total daggers, so that's a 1 out of 3 chance of getting the weapon you want, okay? So you want to put on a dormant discovers for the weapon you want, and then look at the purple pool and see what's the odds of getting it. I would never go above 3. 3 is the max. Like great swords, they're all super different. There's 6 different great swords. I wouldn't do it. But for straight swords, 4 of them are holy out of the 6, so you have a good chance. Stuff like that. It's really good if you get 2 of them, especially for the twin blades. Those are really good for the great spears for Vikes and Solaris, so that kind of thing. I'm also going to show my depth ranks, just cause. 9999. And again, it's not a brag. I'm just showing my stats and stuff, so you can see that I have experience, and it's good to back up what I say. Okay, so starting with Executor.
I don't care about pain anymore. I feel as though there's something violent boiling up from within. Let go. I see. Let go. This. Let go of everything. This is my. Let go. Let go of everything. More important than pain is the sin pulse that's rising within me.
What's the matter? Pick it up. Pick it up.
They think you're weak. Show them.
His job on the team is just big damage and status. He's not the best at reviving. If you have the heal on Roar, he's pretty good, but his ult, it should be mainly for really healing yourself and stunning bosses out of their movesets, and then if things get bad, you know, use the roar to heal everybody else. But obviously the deflect and the parry and stuff's really cool. I really like Executor, so I'm gonna go through the builds that I use for the Nightlords on him. So quick character skill relic overview. Boost attack but drains HP. It's dumb. You're not really ever going to be in the sun catcher or whatever. You're never going to be really doing that for long periods of time. It's less it's defensively because it's less damage. So that's just a nerf. Restores HP. I mean, it's okay if you have it. I would never ever prioritize that. That's like, oh, neat. You know, don't look for that. Roaring restores HP. Really good. Almost mandatory. It's very good. It's super nice. You know, heals and stuns bosses and stuff. It can get you out of a lot of hairy situations. Bigger endurance, reduce arcane. Only do this if you're not doing any status, and I wouldn't even prioritize it. His base levels are fine. Improved Dex and Arcane, I would put that on always if you're doing any kind of status. It's totally worth it. It's 10% more damage and status procs if you're using, like, you know, weapons that fit that build. The Reduced Vigor is bad. It's a big chunk. It's like 140 Vigor or something, but I don't know, man. Man up and get that bleed going, you know? Slowly restores HP upon ability activation. It's nice. If you get, like, Frosted or something, it restores a little bit HP, but, you know, I would never look for that, so. Up first is the dog. And for the dog, you want to run the Halo Scythe, as always. Especially good on Executor because it's dex scaling, and he has the highest dex. He's my highest damage by far, and I don't even have god rolls or anything. I mean, never mind. Some of them are pretty good. Like, you're not going to be doing bleed and stuff, so you want to run the Vigor and Endurance if you can. But I just have the Holy Attack power up on there, so it syncs pretty nice. But Night Invaders, you need the double skill attack power. Holy Attack up, and Dormant discovers Reapers. Like I said, the improved Vigor and Strength is nice, but it's not necessary. So there's those. There's that. We're going to go in the sparring ground and show the damage. And all throughout this video, whatever damage I do in the sparring ground, 3 to 5 times that, because that's what you'll be doing on the Nightlord. Now, specifically, something I wanted to talk about. The skill attack power, passive that you can get on weapons found throughout the game, that has a weird multiplier. It multiplies with itself. If you had the Halo Scythe and then like an inventory full of like, you know, 5 attack powers at full in the inventory, it would do much less damage than if you had 5 skill attack power. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with the multipliers, but it's real. I hit a 4900 with the Halo Scythe with all skill attack power, and then I had a Mariah's with attack power at full, and I was doing like 3600. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me as how it should be, but that's just how it is. So you always want to go for the skill attack power above all else. But just show the damage. Massive damage. If you get 6 skill attack power up, you're doing over 5,000 damage a swing on the Halo Scythe. The Halo Scythe is absolutely fantastic at dog because it keeps you out of the range of the dog's sword attacks. You have time to react after casting. You know, Executor's great because he's got the bigger stamina bar to really spam this thing. Really love the Halo Scythe. I don't like being on melee on the dog. This is the only weapon I would really go for against the dog. And then obviously, you know, dog, if you're fighting normal dog, you can stun him out of some big moves and stuff. I wouldn't do that for the Everdark just because he has the AoE when he's doing his charge up, so for Jaw, you can always run the Halo Scythe, but you can also do the status build, and you just want to go for as much poison afflicted enemy and frostbite afflicted enemy as you can, and then fit in the poison in rot and vicinity increased attack power. And a couple of these are guaranteed, but there's my relics. I have god rolls, and then I have the improved dex and arcane on there. So I mean, this is actually a pretty crazy build. But what's super cool about this build is, you know, and I gotta change characters real quick. So what's super cool about this build is you can get like any weapon and it'll do crazy damage, even the starting one. So you know, there's poison and frost, but as soon as you poison and frost something, your damage numbers just skyrocket. All right, so I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely crazy. Like, this weapon is, you know, quality scaling, and I'm on the dex character. And look at just my base katana attacks. I'm doing 255. You know, let's see what I'm hitting on the dummy over here. 100. So it's like an insane multiplier. And obviously this build leaves you vulnerable, but anything that can poison and frost and be kept poisoned and frosted. So like you don't want a wilder on the team when you're doing this, but the damage is crazy. And like I said, any weapon becomes super good. I had this build against Dark Drift Knight one time, and I had the Cragblade, and I was doing like 4,000 damage a jump attack. I mean, it was mind blowing. So freaking cool. Obviously, you know, hard counters are going to be like Blackblade Kindred, stuff like that, but this is really, really fun. It can work on a lot of bosses. It can carry you really well throughout the game. The only issue I have with this build is when I find Rivers of Blood, I want to use it, you know, and you can't when you're running these relics. So, you know, that's something to think about, but it's cool. It's cool. Another good thing for Jaw is obviously going to be the Dragon Scale Blade. So Dragon Scale Blade is super, super good. I have the Dex and Arcane again because it frosts and it's S Dex scaling, partial HP restoration, physical attack up, and then I have some cool attack up when facing frostbitten enemies. So they synergize really well. But Dragon Scale Blade, it does like 10 to 30% more damage against Gaping Jaw because it is has an anti-dragon effect on it. All the dragon weapons do, and it's pure physical. Pure physical, S-Scalian Dex. You know, it's perfect for his character. So we can just see some damage real quick. You know, and the swings, the more you attack with the successive, you know, it gets up there, 277. I do like 12 to 1400 a hit on this build with a katana. Big yellow chunks on a katana. It's crazy. So, and then I have the attack up when facing frostbitten enemies. And Jaw, you know, he can be frosted. So let's just see. Like 344 without successive on there. Really, really good. The Dragon Scale. If someone gets bit by Jaw and is getting chomped and stuff, hit him in the head with one of these anti-dragon weapons, and it'll stun him and have him release the guy. Pretty cool. So forgot to mention too, with Jaw, when he's dashing all around and he clasps his Jaw together and he makes the big AoE in the Everdark phase, if you time it right with Executor's ult, you can stun him out of the tornado. So just something to keep in mind. I don't recommend using his ult for stuff like that. For big scary moves, sure, but not fun stuff like the tornado. For Pest. Pest, it's always Rivers, just always. Rivers is so good, and obviously you have the insane OP Relic setup with Executor with the successive skill attack power, and then I just go into fire up, partial HP, improved Dex and Arcane. So you know, skill attack, fire up, partial HP, and the damage and the bleed proccing, it's insane. I always talk about Rivers on Pest because Rivers is super good, not just the normal fight, but also the Everdark. So in the normal fight, Rivers' arc is so wide that it can hit both the Moth and the Scorpion. And when they're riding on top of each other, they're different entities, so they have different hitboxes. So you get double hits on this. Obviously, you're getting bleed on all of them. Obviously, it's fire, so it's massive damage. You have the skill attack, the successive. It flows really well underneath the Scorpion, just getting this in. Dodging when he stomps, other side, dodging when he stomps. It's really, really nice. But in the Everdark phase, when you kill either the Moth or Scorpion and Animus goes inside, Animus then makes them both take 90% damage reduction, and bleed procs ignore that. So you're just doing big yellow chunks with the bleed through the Scorpion and Animus at the same time, or the Moth and Animus. So really, really good, really, really cool. Also, the ult can stop lasers, so when Animus leaves a body, after you defeat like the Scorpion or they do their big rampage, Animus will leave, and then it'll charge up lasers. If you time it right with Executor's ult and hit Animus with the big L2 on the dog, it'll cancel lasers. You guys won't have to avoid that whole attack. So really, really nice. I mean, Executor's just great on Pest in general because of his Dex and Arcane. Like, it's so good. It's hard to choose someone like Duchess or something like that, or Wilder, who cannot put out that kind of bleed output. So highly, highly recommend just going Rivers here. If you don't like Rivers for whatever reason, there's always Eleonora's, the Twin Blades. So successive, partial HP, stamina on attacks, Dex and Arcane, fire up. That's just what you want. I really, really, really like the Twin Blade. Eleonora's is fantastic, but the thing is, Rivers is just so good. It just outshines everything else. So just go for Rivers, in my opinion. You don't need the Dormant Discovers and stuff. Another option you could do the Magma Whip, but I have this more for Caligo. Skill attack, successive, fire up, Dormant Discovers whips. And I'll just go into it just because it's kind of cool tech on Pest. But Magma Whip's great. It's deck scaling, big fire damage. AoE is really nice. You can hit multiple enemies, Pest, Scorpion, and the Moth at the same time, Animus too. So really like it. But you could strafe while you're using the weapon art. So really cool. You can strafe underneath the Scorpion and don't have to worry about getting slammed. So pretty cool. But like I said, Rivers is just so good. I would just stick with Rivers. For Augur, Augur is actually, well, Executor on Augur. This is my preferred fight, 100%. Executor is, I think, the best on Augur. So for Augur, I run double skill attack power in case it's Everdark, right? For the Storm Ruler. Partial HP, I got Night Invaders on there. Improved Vigor and Endurance because I'm not going to be proccing statuses on Augur. And Affinity Attack Power, just Affinity Attack. I have Magic Attack because that is what the Storm Ruler weapon art scales off of. And then I have some Affinity Defense in there, which is pretty nice. But yeah, you just want something like this as best you can. The Vigor and Endurance is not necessary, it's just nice. But I really like this dude on Augur because in the normal fight, when Augur gets to half HP, she summons a bunch of jellyfish and stuff and spams everybody. It's like a phase transition. If you go dog mode during that and war and hit all the jellyfish, it does about 20,000 damage to Augur and stuns her. The fight is over when Augur gets to half HP if you have an Executor on the team. It is so good. It is crazy. And then obviously parrying the waves and like skating across the map and everything, the ground AoEs and everything during the Everdark fight is really nice. Plus, Executor, he's got okay mind, he's got good endurance, good HP, so he's a good all-rounder. And then you have Affinity Attack Power. So if you find a Bolt of Grandsex or a Thunderbolt or a Lightning Strike or a Dragon Scale Blade won't really, but it's fine. You you're just gonna smoke normal and Everdark. He's my number one guy. Every time Augur pops up on that screen, I pick Executor. He's so good. For Libra. Libra, Executor's definitely not my favorite on Libra. You can go the Halo site that's super good fighting Libra. Gets the NPCs. You can hit him from range. When he puts down the barriers in the Everdark, it's good. You know, Executor could stun him out of the bubble with his dog L2. So Executor's not bad. I just think there's better characters, but you can go Halo site. Rivers is okay. He's a little slash and bleed resistant, so it's not the best. But what you can also do is the Answer. So for the Answer, Night Invader's Stamina, Successive, Partial HP, Physical Attack up, Dormant Discovers Thrusting Swords. There's only 2 Thrusting Swords, the Needle and the Answer. And with the improved Dex and Arcane, like you're going to be proccing Rot really reliably. And it's good in the Everdark if you can't get a lot of hits in. You'll be able to get Rot off. So really like that. You can also go the Raptor Talons. The Raptor Talons are great. Big damage for them. You're going to want partial HP, stamina attacks, physical attack up. I have improved Dex and Arcane just for more bleed, Dorm Discovers Claws, and physical attack up. So really like the Raptor Talents. They're not the best against Libra because, like I said, he's a little resistant to bleed, but they do massive damage, especially because they're basically pure Dex scaling. So R1, that's huge. And then the R2s, that's so big. It's crazy. And they can get you in, get you out. Really good at getting NPCs, just bunch of damage, proccing successive, damage negation on charge. Really like them. You can do like 2,400 damage a charge start too with the claws. It's absolutely insane. Another option, again for Libra, is going for Vikes. So Vikes scales off of, like the Madness, it scales off of Arcane, so you'll actually be proccing it pretty quick with the improved Dex and Arcane. I mean, you have like 40 Arcane with that. So Dormant Discovers Great Spears, a skill attack power, partial HP is necessary with Vikes because with Vikes, the weapon art can sometimes get you clipped, and the ground AoE fire that Vikes causes will actually heal you with partial HP, and you just want to go fire up at that point. So Vikes is good for all the reasons Vikes is good against Libra. It's just, if you don't have less likely to be targeted, it's a nightmare trying to get this weapon art off. So, just show you the damage. It's really good damage on him. I mean, like this is more strength scaling, but that's still massive damage. It's crazy. So, really like Vikes on Libra, but only when you have less likely to be targeted. Obviously, we already talked about it with the Halo Scythe. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Libra. For Dark Drift, you're gonna want to do the dragon scale every time. I mean, you stun him out. We already went over this build, but you stun him out. It's lightning on the weapon art. It's massive damage. It's so good. You really just want this. You can also do the claws, the raptor talons. That works fine. The status works fine. You can have some more fun on Dark Drift because it's a little easier. So status, claws, and dragon scale are fine for him. For Caligo, I guess Rivers is a fine option. You could do Rivers. She's a little slash resistant, little bleed resistant, so it's fine. But I would go the Magma Whip actually. So we already went over this for Pest, but I think that's the better option. She can stand in there, cooking it a little bit. Executor's definitely not my favorite on Caligo, but that's a pretty good option. For the balancers, I would go Rivers 100%. If you get a Moon Veil, that's great or something. But Eleonora's, you don't want to be in melee range during that fight. You want to have a little bit of distance. And Rivers, they're bleed resistant, but they can bleed, and it has a wide arc, so it can hit multiple at a time. You can attack and get out of there pretty quick with Rivers. So, and it's already the dormant discover. So, I really like that. For the Dreglord, you can do Rivers too. Rivers is fine. Eleanor's is great because if you get rotted, damage negation at full is not going to be a thing, and successive attacks negate damage and damage negation on charge. That's what's going to save you during that fight. So I'll show some damage on Eleanor's here. And obviously, it does bleed, it does fire. He's weak to fire, and he can bleed. He's super resistant, but he can. And once you get successive going, like this will be big damage. And again, add the bleed to that. So really like this weapon. It does massive damage on Charizard too. It's like 2,700, 3,000 with the right passes and stuff in game. So super good. Raptor Talons work on this fight too. The Halo Scythe is really good on this fight because he's running around. You can do the Gargoyle's Blackblade, same kind of thing. You just want stamina up, Dormant discovers Twin Blades, and instead of fire and stuff, you go into the Holy. And I have the Vigor and Strength because I'm not going to be doing lead with this weapon. So another really good option. He's weak to Holy, so all those kind of work. There's a few options with Draglord, but again, he's not my favorite running Draglord. Okay, time for Recluse. Obviously, massive damage. Your job on the team is just DPS and revive people. You got Night Comet, Stars of Ruin. I pretty much saved my ult for reviving, not for helping me with DPS. It's really nice if somebody gets one barred, and you're usually doing so much damage on these builds anyway that fights don't last long. So there is really not a lot of variability in her build. So this is the one I usually run. Night Invaders, Sorcerer's Rise, Magic Tech up, Affinity Residue, Magic Tech up, and then I have the Improved Mind and Faith, Improved and Faith, Reduced Mind. That hurts, but I have Improved Sorceries on there, so it's like 7% or 9% more damage than a maxed out one without that. So I like running it, and then I have Magic Tech up with some defense. So I'm just going to show you like some sparring ground damage. I won't run this on Libra, be chance that it's Everdark. But other than that, I'll be running this build pretty much. So 209 on the arc, and then 214 on a pebble. That's insane damage. Really good. I like this build. This is near the most damage you can get. So her character skills, real quick. Suffer blood loss and increase attack. I guess it's fine. I don't really like it because you take damage. If you have damage negate attack power full and stuff, this is kind of nullified. But it's fine. Activating Ultimate Orb, that's nice. Never look for that. It's good though. Collecting Infinity Residue, I really like this. I would say this is almost mandatory, but you know, don't get locked into thinking you have to stay in there because some boss fights you're moving around and stuff. So you're not always going to benefit from this, but it's really good to have. Prove Vigor and Dex, don't do that. It's terrible. Mind and Faith, it's good, but it reduces your mind so much that it can be really annoying and get bad throughout the game. So, you know, just be cautious when you're using that one. Collect Affinity Residue. Don't do that. It's pointless. And you'll notice I'm not spec'd into any magic school here. And that's what I think Recluse, like, that's how I think she should be run. It's just generalist magic. I'm going to go over, like, what spells I like using against bosses, but I really don't like going, like, for Stallion or Gravity or, you know, stuff like that, or Faith on her. Like, I just like being able to use what I find. Different things are better in different situations, and, you know, luck's involved, so I just take that out of it with her. She's so good as is. I wouldn't really recommend doing other things, but the you know, and when I discuss things that can stun bosses out of their movesets, the Gravity Bomb and the Lightning Strike from the Cocktail, those can do that. In everything I talk about this video, I'm just not going to bring it up constantly because you know, it's going to get repetitive. So for this, in the sparring ground for the dog, what I like doing is using either Comet. By the way, Glintstone Comet Shard is basically the same as Comet. It's better DPS. It's just less damage total, but better DPS. It's less stamina cost. It's less mind cost. So if you find Comet Shard, it's just as good as Comet, maybe better. But I like using Comet, Glintstone Comet Shard, Collapsing Stars. That's pure magic damage. Gravity Well is pure magic damage. The other ones, they're 60% physical, 40% magic. So Collapsing Stars is really good. The tracking is really good. Obviously, the Moon, Renal's Full Moon, or Ronnie's Full Moon, both very good against the dog because they go really far. They have good tracking. And then if you're confident, which I'm not on Recluse, I don't like being up in front on the dog. I like being far away. You can always go Shattering Crystal. It does massive damage on the dog. You just want to get under there. For Jaw, same kind of thing because, you know, dogs run around, Jaws run around. So you want to go like Moon, Collapsing Stars, Gravity Well, and then Shattering is good on this because it's a little safer being up close on Jaw. So with the Moon too, you can actually cast Moon and dodge the Lightning Ground AoEs. You can do that for a lot of attacks. Not holsters and not the dogs though. So just keep that in mind, and not Dark Drifts. Anything that's going to hit you if you jump isn't going to work. Anything that is not going to hit you with a jump, the Moon will work. So it's fun doing that kind of stuff. For Pest, I would just go Shattering on Pest because they're magic resistant. You can double hit the Scorpion and the Moth, so just go Shattering. But another good one to have in your back pocket too on Pest is Meteorite, since it's more physical. Does really good damage. If you find that, just pick it up. If the Pest gets stunned or something like that, you can really cook them with some of the Meteorite spells. For Augur, wouldn't recommend running this character on Augur, but I don't think she's the worst. Executor is my first. Duchess is probably my second, and then third and fourth are probably Recluse and Guardian for my Augur pick. So obviously Storm Ruler scales off of magic damage. You have all magic damage on your relics, so you're going to be doing big damage with that, and you're getting magic attack power-ups through game. So very, very good for damage. She just has lower HP and stamina and stuff, so you got to be cautious of that. If you wanted to do like specific builds against Augur, Shattering works really good, so you might actually want to just do a Shattering build. So I have like a Crystallion build, and I'm just going Crystallion, Crystallion, Crystallion. I have some other good stuff on there, like attack up, and then Crystallion, Crystallion, Crystallion. So this will do massive damage. It's good on regular Augur, but this won't really help if it's Everdark, okay? You can also do Gravity Sorceries because they're 60% physical, 40% magic on 3 of them. So Gravity Sorceries, magic up, Gravity Sorceries, magic up, wherever you can. So those are 2 good options. For Libra, I really like running Recluse on Libra. This is where I go to my generalist build. Okay, so it's a little less DPS, but it's still good. So Sorcerer's Rise, Night Invader, Magic Attack up, and just wherever I can, Magic Attack up. So I like running this because my other one has Rot build up and less Mind, and sometimes things can go wrong during the Everdark fight. So I'd recommend just doing this. Good spells and stuff. Collapsing Stars. The Moon. Stars of Ruins probably the best because Stars of Ruins great at rezzing and it's got good tracking. Does good damage and stuff. Really like Recluse on Libra. I think there should always be a Recluse on the team for Libra. Obviously, Lightning and Gravity Well, they'll stun regular Libra out of his bubble and stuff. So For Dark Drift, you can really do anything. That's where you can have fun. You know, I have this like lightning slash build. Like I guess this could work for Augur too, but yeah, I mean, it might be pretty good on Augur. Dragon Colt, lightning up, Dragon Colt. But you know, there's one of the cocktails is the like the lightning slash, and it's pure lightning damage. So most people don't know that. They think it might be like a mix, or they think it might be like magic and lightning. It's actually pure lightning, and you'll notice when if you're playing Recluse and you don't even have lightning up, you do massive damage on this thing just generally. So if you play, like, look at that, that's pretty good. If you play with friends and stuff, and you could set up a build where you can just constantly keep getting that lightning off, you know, it might be worth it. Like you'll be doing Dragon Colt and magic damage anyway, and it's a Dark Drift Seed, so you don't have to be too concerned about it that much. But I mean, 3 to 5 times that, like that'll be massive damage each lightning strike. And again, you have the Dragon Colt and you got regular magic stuff. Could be fun. I would give it a shot on Dark Drift just because he's a little bit easier. But if you wanted to be optimal, you would just go for, you know, like Moon, Stars, Collapsing Stars, Comet, that kind of thing. For Caligo, not my favorite on Caligo, but she does good damage. I would just stick to Shattering Crystal, but I would go for like a DPS or a Generalist build, and then just pick up Shattering Crystal if you can. For Holster, Stars of Ruin, Collapsing Stars, the Moon, the Lightning Slash, like all those would be fine against Holster. The Moon, you know, can dodge some of the ground AoEs and stuff. She's good on Holster. I would recommend. He's not really that magic resistant, so. For the Balancers, she's pretty good on the Balancers too. I prefer Mage Duchess over her, but Shattering, Stars of Ruin, and Comet, those are going to be the ones you're going to look out for the Balancers. Shattering specifically because you can like nuke the worm in one Shattering Crystal. I have a video I posted for my Balancer builds, and it shows like my friend just absolutely destroying the worm in one shot with the Shattering Crystal. So pretty cool. And then, you know, it just gets regular ones, hits a bunch of them, big AoE, that kind of stuff. For the Dreadlord, she's good on the Dreadlord, man. I did a run on her. The Dreadlord, it was in the edit. The dodge is nice, and she does big damage. I would go Stars of Ruin, Moon, Collapsing Stars, and Shattering Crystal again. So those are the builds I'd recommend for Recluse. Okay, so for Raider.
Strength is the only thing that matters in this world. Everything else is just a delusion for the weak. There's only one certainty in life. A strong man stands above and conquers all. As the last of the Saiyans, we have flowing through our veins the blood of a warrior race. The more we fight, the more powerful we become. And with each fight, I'll get stronger and stronger. I will not be distracted from this anymore. I won't take more than head games to stop me. You may have invaded my mind and my body, but there's one thing a Saiyan always keeps. His pride! The mighty prince of the ultimate warrior race.
His character skill relics. Damage taken improves his. I mean, the thing is, like, you don't want to be trading in like very late, deep at night, like depth 5 and stuff. You don't really want to be trading, so a lot of this stuff isn't useful. The duration of Ultimate Art Extended, you know, it's actually more of like a troll than not, so I wouldn't recommend. Restores HP, pointless. Poise, pointless. Minded in, it's a meme. Don't do it. I did it. Improved Arcane. This is good. This is good on very specific weapons, but this is very good. So I would highly recommend putting this on. Maybe always. Maybe just have this always. But definitely, if you're doing fists and stuff, pick this up. Or if you're doing any kind of status, pick that up. It gives them like Executor Arcane. It's very good. Hit with enemy, reduce attack power. Kind of pointless again. I wouldn't look into that. His skills unfortunately aren't that good. But you know, his job on the team, big damage. Not the best at rezzing, but you know, hopefully your health and stuff can take you through. But big weapon arts, big damage. Keep up the pressure. For the dog. Kind of two options with the dog. I don't like going in on melee against the dog, so you could do like a generalist weapon art build, and that's skill attack power, Night Invaders, affinity attack power, or partial HP, and I have some physical attack just in case the weapon art is physical. But you know, if you pick up something good against the dog, like the bubble hammer, that does massive damage. It's really good. I guess I'll go to the sparring ground and show some of that damage. But really anything that's going to be like strength scaling-ish, maybe holy-ish, and just have a good weapon art will do fine on this character. He can do really big damage. And this thing, like I said, this thing's crazy. I don't know if anybody's seen some videos of it, but let's just watch this damage. That is wild, and I'm not even fully spec'd into holy and stuff like that. That is just a generalist build, you know, so worth looking into. The other thing, Silurias. So, skill attack power, Night Invader, and Silurias is actually split damage on the weapon art. It's half holy, half physical. So, I'm going into physical just because it'll help more throughout the day. And, you know, if I get fists or something like that, it'll do fine, or physical weapon art. So, Silurias, again, there are only 2 purple great spheres. The problem with Silurias is you have to know your openings on when you can get this weapon art off. Massive damage, 3 to 5 times that. But knowing when you can get this off is going to be the biggest hurdle, because it's such a long weapon art that you can get clipped by the dog if they're aggro on you. So you just got to be careful. But it's really cool because it can go through and hit multiple dogs. If they're split up, you could get all 3, and like that'll be doing what, like 3,000 to 4,000 damage a run or something like that, and then times that by 3. Like that's the max potential you can get. So really good. It's just it's hard to do. For jaw, you can do the same thing with Silurias, or you could go for the Beast Claw. The range on this weapon art, it's big enough to hit jaw from like farther away, and it's not too slow. It does big damage. It's physical up. I'll show the relics real quick, but I'm just going to show the damage. So connecting with this does more damage. Right there, 1033, and then far away, you know, it'll still hit and do okay damage. So it's a good weapon, pretty reliable find. You know, jaw's not resistant and stuff. For that, you just want the skill attack power. The great hammers, physical attack up, partial HP. So kind of fun. For pest, DPS fist. You want to go, you want to get as much fist and physical attack and arcane for the more bleed. For if you get starfist, partial HP, successive stamina on attacks. That's what you want. So something kind of like that. But you know, fists are super good on Raider. Like, they are quality scaling, but they're more strength scaling. And you get this going with successive and stuff. Like, everybody knows fists are super good. So he does really good damage. So probably some of my highest damage on the fist. I think Undertaker's just up there, but you know, really good. You get Starfist, that's really good. So really liking this. What's also cool too, it's not like awesome. It's just kind of neat. The clinging bone scales off of arcane as well. So you'll get big damage, but it is split damage. So the physical attack and the magic attack are different, but you know, pretty big damage on that. So kind of interesting. The other option you can do for pests, which I don't really like, but it's super good on the Everdark. It's not really the best on the normal, is the candle stand. So skill attack power on that, partial HP, fire up. I always run partial HP on Raider just because of the role he plays in the team. You just something like that, if you can. It's almost completely strength scaling, so Raider does like the most damage with the candle stand. And obviously, it just cooks the bug completely. On the Everdark, it's super, super good because when the Animus is coming inside a body, you have a big damage window. You just get this thing off. And actually, I'll do it on the bigger one. But you just get this thing off and just cook Animus in there, and the damage is insane. It's like 6,000 to 10,000 damage a weapon art. I mean, it's actually unbelievable. You just skip phases. Like, the boss doesn't exist with this weapon. In normal pest, it's not that good because if you're like strafing the scorpion and stuff, like, you're gonna get clips. You know, so it's just something to think about when using this. It's really long weapon art, but if he's aggro to somebody else, you'll be doing big damage. For Augur, wouldn't recommend running this guy on Augur. If you do, just kind of go for a generalist weapon art build, and that should be okay, but definitely not my favorite for Augur. For Vikes, I mean, for Libra, you should probably just go for Vikes. So, Great Spears, Fire Up, Partial HP, Skill Attack Power, and I got Night Invaders on there. So, Vikes, you know, again, another strength scaling. primarily. Does really well on Raider. It's just if you don't have less likely, it's kind of a nightmare during that fight. If you do have less likely, this weapon's awesome. So, Raider's good on regular Lever because his charge retaliate can hit him out the bubble. And then there's ultimate can too. So really like that. But here's damage. It's big damage. Big damage. So really liking Vikes. It's really cool. We've kept him stun locked before he's like gotten, being able to put up a bubble in the normal fight and stuff. So pretty fun. Just everybody having Vikes on the team. You can also do the DPS fist build. It's just the fist can whiff on Libra a little bit. So, just if you know how to use them well, they'll be fine. For Dark Drift, you can really do anything, but I'd recommend just going the fists and maybe get Veteran's Prosthesis or Star Fist with Thunder Affinity. Like any of that stuff's going to be fine. Dark Drift's not too bad. You can do like a regular jump attack build, and that's just gonna be stamina on attack, successive, physical attack up, partial HP, and then whatever else you can fit on there. You can just do a jump attack build and just find some big colossals and bonk them. Another one that works too is the initial standard attack, and you just want an initial standard attack wherever you can. Partial HP is nice, and I have some other nice stuff on there, but this one's interesting, and I've done it on Dark Drift, and it works pretty well. It works okay on Holster too, but you just get like a colossal weapon, and you just do an R1 and block and R1. So R1, block, R1, block, R1, and it's just the first hit. So like the second hit, 753, it does like half that damage. So you just want to keep doing the first hits. But, it's big, 3 to 5 times that. That's what you're going to be hitting at the end of the day. You're going to get a couple thousand on an R1. So pretty cool. For Caligo, you really just want the candle stand. I wouldn't go for anything else. This thing just phases her. Like it doesn't even get to a second phase if you have this build against Caligo. So really recommend doing that. Raider's fine against Caligo, I guess. I just like somebody with a little bit better dodge because for that frost breath. So for Holster, just kind of DPS fists like that. That's probably the best. You want to stay up close. Like they're quick attacking. They do big damage. You get proccing damage negation on successive and damage negation on charge. Initial standard attack would work. Soluria's would work, but I think the fist is probably just the best. For balancers, you probably want to do the fists as well. Even though I don't like being melee range, I really wouldn't go Raider for balancers. Jump attacks are probably pretty okay for stunning them, but melee range is so rough, especially in depth 5, man. When you can't see your screen and see if there's multiple balancers ready to attack you, it's really, really annoying. And Dragalord, wouldn't pick this guy on Dragalord, but I'd probably just go DPS Fist at that point, or Colossal jump attacks. But you'll get clipped a lot by the Dragalord, so just go for the Fist. So that's pretty much it for Raider.
Please, if you believe you can defeat me, then you're more delusional than ever.
That's right. You had no idea, did you? I've been a Super Saiyan for years, and now I too have the power of a god.
Okay, time for Guardian. Something I want to point out with Guardian is that he has this improved strength index, which gives him more strength index than Wilder. Okay, so yes, he can do more damage on basically everything in the game that's like a melee attack or a weapon art with scaling off of melee as compared to every other character. So I'm gonna show my my Wilder damage real quick. So you saw that 368 on the Guardian. And then just gonna make sure I don't have any relics equipped. And I'll go to the sparring ground and show the damage on Wilder. And you can do this with every weapon for like every character basically, and it works. Say, more damage on Guardian. That being said, in order to do this, you have to sacrifice the Guardian playstyle and the Guardian relics that are very good. So I do not recommend making Guardian like this, okay, and going fully into that playstyle. I do not recommend it. I think Guardian should be played for the role he has, and it sacrifices a lot in order to get that little bit of damage. Just play a different character if you want to do weapon arts and stuff, okay? So his character skills. Shockwaves, very good, almost mandatory, but it's not. It is just very good. It helps unlock a lot of stuff in the game. Increased duration character skill, it's nice. Wouldn't prioritize that. It's just nice. Restores HP, necessary, mandatory. Have to have it on the team. It's super, super good. Whirlwind, pointless. Strength Index, put it on wherever you possibly can, but don't make sacrifices to have this. Okay, get what's necessary before you put this on, but put this on when you can. That should be very important to put on. It's very, very good. Mind of Faith, it's a meme. Don't do it. Character skill boost negation. I wouldn't prioritize this either. If you have it, great, but don't sacrifice damage for that. So obviously, his role in the team is to save everybody, to be the wall, be the shield, the shield that guards the realms of men. Okay, but you can also do damage. Okay, you don't need to go full support all the time. This guy can do damage. Keep that in mind. So when I have these builds, I'm going to show you. But I'm gonna show you my general support build. Okay. So I just put on Shockwaves, Arcade Shells more of guarding. Drawing enemy while guarding is very, very good against Guardian. It keeps things aggro to you constantly and allows your team to get in a whole bunch of damage. Very, very good. Stamina on attacks, that's what you want. Restores HP. I have this character increased duration for character skill. You don't need it. Successful guarding feels more of arc gauge. Defeating enemies feels more of arc gauge. Partial HP, poison damage negation, and boost damage negation to allies. Dormant discovers grade shields. Okay, that's something you're going to want for support. Dormant discovers grade shields because picking the right grade shield for the boss is extremely important. I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me. Go Google it. That'll find you the list of shields that's really good. There's so many to go through with all varying little bits of information. I'm not gonna talk about that. And for my generalist build. Okay, this does damage. So you'll notice I still have nice stuff on there. Shockwaves, guarding fills, HP, stamina on attacks, draw enemy attention when guarding, and Night Invader. Then I have defeating fills more, physical attack up, improved strength and dex, partial HP. This does good damage. I guess I'll go through and just show you the damage difference between a full support build, on like a poke, and then like a damage build. So that's 110. And you notice I still have the stuff necessary. I don't have everything I would want for a Guardian, but I have enough to really help my team and get me through the match. 110 into 171. That is a massive damage difference, okay? Just something to consider. You don't need to go full support with all the little knickknacks and the Augur Relic and that kind of stuff. You can do both, okay? So, for the dog, Guardian on Everdark Dog, probably a nightmare. I haven't done it, but I'm guessing it's a nightmare. I would just go for Soluria's, but keeping the General's build. Don't go into the skill attack power and stuff. Just have those benefits that Guardian has, and just look for Dormant Discovers Great Spears. And like I said, Soluria's is split holy and physical, so you can go physical attack up. I would just try and run that. Block what you can and get the weapon art off whenever you can. It does good damage on him on this build. I'll show it in the sparring ground. If you stuck around for the Raider portion, you saw that I did like 995 in the Raider thing, so not two-handed. 708. It's not bad. It's not all there, but it's not bad. Like I said, don't sacrifice stuff to get the skill attack power relics on. Have the necessary relics for Guardian. Another one you could do is just the General's build that we already reviewed, and just shield poke them. That works fine. A weapon I really like that I like using on Guardian a lot is the Bloody Hellas. So the Bloody Hellas, you just kind of want the same thing as all the other builds, right? That general stuff, physical attack up, strength and dex, Dormant discovers heavy thrusting swords. The Bloody Hellas is super, super good on Guardian, not only because you can shield poke, but there's one purple. You'll get it every single game. The weapon art gives you iframes and gets you out of there, okay? So no longer need to deal with the Guardian dodge. You can just use this weapon for every boss and every encounter. It does bleed. It does okay damage. You can shield poke with it, okay? You can also use a weapon art and come back. Dodge and do some damage. So really, really like the Bloody Hellas. I would make this like the staple of his account if you're not of his character if you're not doing guard counters. So you can do that against Dog. Has iframes, it gets you out of there. You come back in, does bleed. It's a very good weapon. Highly recommend doing that. Jaw, you can use the Bloody Hellas, that's fine. Slurries would be fine against Jaw as well. I really wouldn't do guard counters. You could do a Generalist, but that's pretty much it. You could do an Anspur build. You just want the same thing as the Bloody Hellas, but Dormant discovers thrusting swords, okay? So, there's not really a lot of variability. If you get the Dragon Scale Blade, like that's fine. You can just use that. If you get the Dragon Halberd, that's fine. You can use that. They have the anti-dragon effect. So for Pest, you might be able to do the guard counter build. So I'll show this off now, and then I'll go into the relics. I just want to show you the damage on this thing. I need to pick up a couple halberds here. Where are they? There. All right, base halberd, and then something like the Commander Standard. So this build is absolutely insane. I'm going to show you the damage here. So this is base weapons damage. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Now time for Commander Standard. That is also crazy. 3 to 5 times that. Yes, it is possible to do 5 to like 8,000 damage a guard counter. It's totally possible, and it's a total realistic way to play them. The only thing is, it is difficult. There is a learning curve in being able to successfully do this throughout a match, okay? You need to be good at this. If you're good on Guardian and want to give this a shot, you have to practice. It's going to take some trial and error, but once you get good at this, you'll be a monster. You'll be an absolute monster. So for this, guard counter given a boost off of current HP, and that's necessary. That's a huge portion of the damage. And then other than that, partial HP, stamina on attacks, and you just want to go guard counters wherever you can. I have some god rolls, but just guard counter +2, guard counter +2, defeating enemies. Like I've really good rolls on this, but you just want guard counters. The damage output is crazy. I've done like 4,500 to 5,000 damage a guard counter in game, and it wasn't even maxed out. So, like I said, if you're good with him and you can pull this off, do it, because it's totally worth it. There's a reason that this guy has a charged guard counter on the halberd. Okay, there's a reason for that. It is. I think it's the optimal way to play him and how you should play him if you can pull it off. But like I said, it is difficult. For Pest, you can also do the Bloody Hellas. Again, same kind of thing. You can do Anspur. Again, same kind of thing. I really wouldn't go like support on Pest. I would try and get some more damage, because if this fight goes too long, it's a nightmare. You can also do the Inquisitor's Grandule. For this, same kind of thing as always, but instead you just want to go fire up. So, fire up, the improved strength, relic, night invaders, partial HP, affinity attack power, dormant discover spears. So, really like this weapon. You have a good chance of getting it. It's good. It's fire. It's bleed. You can shield poke. So, if you're looking for stuff, like this would be something you'd want to pick up. So why just not? Like, why not just put on the Dormant Discovers and try and get it? Like, it's really good on Pets. Get that bleed off, get that fire off. Like, super, super good, I forgot to mention, too, like, all of Guardian's ult stuff, that'll stun bosses out of their attack. So that's going to work on, like, Animus Lasers, Jaws, freaking Tornado, like, Dog's big ult, like, all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. So for Augur, he'd probably be like my 3rd or 4th pick for Augur, and I would go support. It's less damage, but that fight sucks, and it's nice to have a Guardian on the team to heal up everybody. You can block a lot of the attacks that you can't dodge on other characters, so not a bad pick. I would just go for support against Augur. For Libra, you can do Vikes. Vikes is totally feasible. Again, I'm not sacrificing my relics for the character skill, or for the weapon art relics, so Dormant discovers great spears, fire up, physical up, or whatever works. I like just going into physical because I'm not going to be doing the weapon art too much unless I have less likely. I'm just going to be doing shield pokes with it. So I'd recommend going Vikes, obviously, against Libra for all the reasons that Vikes is good against Libra. But, just to see some poke damage here. It's not bad. You just keep doing that throughout the fight. That's fine. Anspur works good, too. So for Dark Drift's where you can do the guard counters. That's the one boss that that it works fine on holster, but it's made for Dark Drift. I would really recommend going Guard Counter Guardian for Dark Drift. If you don't feel comfortable with that, if you pick up a Dragon Scale Blade, use that. But Bloody Hellas is also very good. A Generalist build with just physical attack up is also fine. For Caligo, wouldn't really run this guy on Caligo, but I'd go for Inquisitors. And if you find a Candlestead or something, use that. Ansper, she's rot resistant. You're not going to be able to get that rot off too much. For holster, Generalist again, and then probably Ansper would be the next best because he can rot. And then maybe a guard counter if you're feeling confident. But I would go Ansper. I would say stay away from Solarias because you need distance to really get that off. Balancers, just go general. If you're confident, do the guard counters, but just go general. Draglord, Generalist. Don't run this guy on Draglord, but Generalist or the Bloody Hellas. Those are the 2 ones you're looking for. So that's pretty much it for Guardian. Like I said, he's definitely not my favorite. He's definitely a skill check. I'm not good playing him. He's very hard to get good at. But those who are good at him, I would recommend going into damage. You're much more than just support. You can be both, or you can just do tons of damage. So the fights don't last as long. Remember, the faster the fight, the less mistakes are made, the less people go down, the less you have to revive. So just go damage and have those necessary character skills on. So that's pretty much it. See ya.